I'm Manny, and this is my true story. So, about a month after I graduated college, I was in a car accident. Wrenched my back pretty bad, cracked a couple ribs. That was a lot of pain, but after wore the brace, and after 6 weeks, I felt pretty good. In early August, I accompanied our church high school group up to camp, and I was assisting the youth pastor who was a childhood friend of mine. Come Thursday, we had a tug-of-war, competition between churches, and I put my whole back into it, and my back let me know I wasn't ready for that, and I was back in severe pain. And I went to the cabin and laid in my bunk, and I was just in pain, and not much we can do about it. And then I heard the music starting for the evening meeting, and I said, well, I can be in my bunk in pain, or I could be down there with my kids in pain. No reason to stay up there. So I went down, and after the message, I was talking with a couple of our students, talking about God's power and His plan for His life, and why we should be seeking Him. And then they were facing each other, and I put my arms around them to pray for them. So I was praying for these two students, and I became aware of the youth pastor putting his hands on me, and I could hear him praying, but I wasn't paying attention to him. My focus was on the students, and I just figured he was praying along with me for those students. Then he took his hand up my back, and I felt this heat, and the pain was gone. And it wasn't until afterward I realized that he had come up and was praying specifically because he knew I was injured, and he was praying for this healing. It really took me back because I had no knowledge of it, because I hadn't asked him to, because there wasn't any power, positive thinking. It was something completely separate from my intellect, but it was the Spirit of God working through him. God is always present. God knows every ache and pain. And I don't know why healings happen. I don't know why they don't happen. But I know God knows. 7 billion people in this world. He knew I was hurting. I went with my mother to a healer, a big healing service, and people are coming up and they're throwing their canes away and everything, and my mom didn't get what she needed. But they all went with some expectation. They all went hoping and believing this person could use God's power. I was there with no expectation. And it wasn't even that serious an injury. But I had no idea that he was going to do it. I had no idea what he was saying because I was focused on these two young people. And yet I felt that heat that couldn't be produced by his hands. and I felt the relief of that deep pain in my back, that I could move, stand up, and I knew this was instantaneous healing. When I stood up and realized that heat had been part of a healing process, I moved about, and from that day on, I had no other consequences from that injury. And I've had my doubts in my life, but as soon as I think of that time, I have to say, God loves me, God knows me, God cares about me, God has a plan for me. Seek Him.